Hello again. Welcome to another weekly installment of the Dev Challenges. This week is week 9. Last week, for week 8, we had a lot of great responses, and I'm happy to report that everyone who submitted got the answer right. So congratulations. This week's problem is a slightly easier problem on the surface, but we added some interesting twists, and hopefully you'll find it quite interesting. So this week's challenge, you are given a list of numbers representing 3 colors. Your job is to sort the array so that the colors are in order. So we can see on the input file here, we have the numbers 0, 1, and 2. And your job is to sort all the zeros first, then the ones, then the twos. Okay, so on the surface, this is a pretty trivial problem. So here's the parts where we're going to make it harder. If you submit an answer that uses the built-in sort functions, you're going to receive 1 point for participation and 0 for the actual correct answer portion of the points. For half a point more, as long as you submit any valid answer that does not use any of the built-in sort functions, then you get 1.5 points total. For that final half point, what you need to be doing is to complete the sorting in big O1 space. So what that means is you can create extra data structures to use, but the sizes of those data structures do not scale with the data input. So for 1.5 points here up to here, all you need to do is use anything to sort the functions, including creating a second array and populating it with the sorted answer. For that last half point, you must use some other method to get to the right answer. So I left a hint for you here as well. You can do it by sorting it in place or using pointers and overriding the array. There are other approaches available. These two are not exhaustive, but I left them here as a hint. So there are 2 total points possible for this week's challenge. All right. So in the previous challenge video, we actually made a big deal about not using and modifying the input array. However, for this week's challenge, we specifically want you to modify that input array as a way to kind of give you exposure to the different types of problems that you might want to consider using one approach versus the other. And so for this problem, you might consider overriding the input directly because you're dealing with lower level code or you're working in a memory constrained environment. And these typically would look like an embedded device or a limited memory firmware device or something like that. So for this week, go ahead and modify the input directly. But in general, as with all things that we teach you in Game of Apps, make sure you understand the application and the tool and which makes sense in that context. For some cases, it might make sense to modify the input array directly. But in most cases, as we kind of covered in the week 8 video critique video, it might be better to use a little bit more memory for the trade-off of knowing the safety and the reliability of not modifying the input. Okay, so without further ado, good luck. This week's problem shouldn't be too challenging, but I hope to see a lot of you attempt to get the full 2 points instead of the 1.5. Okay, so again, as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to ping us on Slack. And let's hope that you will see a lot of great submissions on Saturday. Have fun. Bye-bye.